All right, today let's see if Mockingbird can fit in the Rotpriest deck. Rotpriest, reference to Venerated Rotpriest. These decks are basically just trying to keep your board alive and making sure that your opponent can't remove them while doing things that target your own board so that your opponent gets poison counters enough to kill them. So let's take a look at all the things we're doing. Not Dead After All, somewhat recent addition. You see this in Scam typically, but this is something that can make your Venerated Rotpriest survive a kill spell. Necrogen Communion has a similar effect here. When it dies, return it to the battlefield under your control. This thing also gives Toxic 2 to something that already has Toxic 1, which is pretty good. And then all these things are compounded by the fact that Mockingbird is an invasive flyer. So when you copy a Rotpriest and have Toxic on the Mockingbird, Toxic 3, once it's upgraded, is pretty annoying to deal with for your opponent. The next thing that comes through is Charge Through. Target creature gains trample until end of turn. We're using this specifically just as a cantrip. Tamiyo Safekeeping is our protection spell for our creatures. And we're running 2 March of Burgeoning Lives, which sometimes I'm not super happy with, but it is good in certain situations. So one thing to note about this one is this one does not cost just 1 mana. This one actually costs 3 if you'd like to use it. So basically you will need to either exile a card to March, or you'll have to pay 3 in order to copy something with 2 or less. Or sorry, it's less than 2 rather, in order to get your Rotpriest back. So that's one way in order to target a Rotpriest and then get a second one on the battlefield so that you can continue to go crazy with your other spells. And then finally we have Spell Pierce in order to make sure that our opponent doesn't, counter our Necrogen Communion or something like that we're spending a lot of effort into playing. We can also, counter some ramp out, tap out type of deals. There's also Bring the Ending. This is another counter spell that is basically a hard counter if our opponent has 3 or more poison counters, which we hope to have early. Experimental Augury is card draw for us. It also has Proliferate stamped onto it, so we can help kill our opponents a little bit more. This deck is really about getting in early Rotpriest, and if we don't, it's going to be a hard time. But you know what? That's what we're going to be trying to do today. We have to hope that we dodge a lot of removal-heavy decks, and we have to hope that our opponent's ways of targeting our things are few and far between, because we want to counter them or give our creatures protection. We're in Sultai today. Should be a fun time. Venerated Rotpriest, now with Mockingbird. Let's give it a try. Before we hop into the games, make sure to like and comment. Helps with the algorithm, and subscribe for videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Now here comes round 1. Alright, well this deck originates from the ladder, but I did give it a try in Timeless to see if that was something that could work. Unfortunately, didn't really think that it was right for me, but the historic version seems to be pretty decent. We get to go first here. We have a Venerated Rotpriest. We do have Spell Pierce once the Rotpriest lands. On turn 3, we're probably going to try to play a Necrogen Communion, but I think we do keep this hand. The March of Burgeoning Life can pitch the Charge Through if we really want to. We'll get ready to hold up Spell Pierce here. Let's drop a Rotpriest. Typically this is going to be good for 1 attack, which is nice, unless my opponent has anything else to do. They look to be not doing anything yet. They're reading Rotpriest. Maybe they send this back to my hand. If they target it, they will get a poison counter, which is convenient. Not expecting it to die based on what they have on the battlefield. So I can Shock or Spell Pierce or Charge Through or March. If I Mockingbird on the Rotpriest and then March to get another thing that is 1 for the attack, 2 more poison, that's pretty decent. So I think I'm going to Mockingbird and do that. We're going to not bother with Spell Pierce. Alright. So that resolves. Let's go with Mockingbird. X equals 0. Confirm 0. We will target a Rotpriest. Looks like they might have something that can... they might have something to say about that. Luckily, we seem to be good. 1 poison. They will reveal a mountain here. What kind of creature or spell are we looking to play here? Alright, so they're going to Dragon's Fire me. Sure. I think we're also just going to go ahead and March here. We're going to go for X equals 2 here. Exiling a Charge Through. Let's copy this, which is just going to be a venerated Rotpriest anyway. Opponent will be at 5 counters here. We will end up with 2 Rotpriests on the battlefield. So we are looking quite solid here. Necrodrin Communion comes down. Pay 2 life. Make sure that we can get around with our Spell Pierce targets. They're at 7, and they will be at 11 once we attack. So this will be a kill with poison. Things went pretty well that game. We even survived 1 removal spell. Alright, here comes the next one. Alright, let's continue it here. Double Rotpriest in this opener with a Mockingbird. This has the potential to be pretty good. This Bring the Ending, if my opponent can't deal with my initial start, is going to be also pretty solid. Not great that we start on the draw here. Chef at Dunes. Maybe we're playing against a creature deck. That is Esper Sentinel. That's not too bad. Let's play Rotpriest. Esper Sentinel, not a deck that is known to have a lot of kill spells other than like a Swords to Plowshares. So we just want to flood the board with creatures as soon as possible. Esper Sentinel number 2, sure. Breeding Pool we will shock, or actually, you know what, I can just go like this. We'll go Rotpriest Mockingbird. And we are set up to pretty much just about kill my opponent. X equals 0 here. Looks like they have something to say about it. Manatide, nice. Alright. So it looks like this is just going to be some sort of like taxes type deal. Experimental Augury is now going to be the thing that we hold up along with Bring the Ending. Reckoner Bankbuster, yeah, so definitely just some fair creature strategies. Tamiyo's Safekeeping here I think is important to shock for. I think this is worth it to attack if they double block we Tamiyo's Safekeeping. Let's see how much of this is worth a block to them. They might give it to me, sweet. So now that we hold up Tamiyo's Safekeeping, this is pretty sweet for us. This is 2 poison a turn that we wouldn't have gotten otherwise. Eldrazi Displacer. Okay. Fine. That unfortunately is a targeting that doesn't work to give them poison. If they have mana, they can actually fizzle some of my stuff. Good to know. We'll go for this Experimental Augury here. We can pay for one of these. And they will get a card here. We get to look here and then proliferate. Charge through is the take here. We will proliferate on them. And we will draw. Rotpriest, that's good. So we have Rotpriest, 1 target. We're missing a 3rd green. Regardless, the Rotpriest is the play. So we just hold up Bring the Ending here. And either Tamiyo's Safekeeping or charge through. They're effectively on 6. They will be at 9. And yeah, as soon as we can just draw into something that does any sort of poison counter thing, we will have them dead. They're effectively at 9. They pass. Alright, nothing from them so far. We have to be cognizant about Mana Tithe. We'll give them 3 counters here. Alright, go to 6. And the question is, do I hold up Bring the Ending or give them cards? I think I just give them the cards here. Or sorry, I avoid giving them the cards. Yep, we gotta pay. If they have removal in this hand, so be it. Seems like we're good. We did brick here. We did brick again. We want to make sure that we do produce green. I could attack in here, but that's just unwise. We will put a Botanical Sanctum in tapped, hold up this Bring the Ending, and just make sure that they can't do any big play to get back in the game. They'll start to roll their Reckoner Bankbuster here. That's a pretty slow use of mana. We just need one more spell, honestly. We can survive we can actually kill them if they target any of our creatures, so that's great. I will just hold up the Tamiya Safekeeping for now. March of Burgeoning Life, here we go. So we'll just pay X equals 2. We will not exile anything. I want to actually use my non-green producing sources here. They go to 9. We'll see if they remove anything, and then I just drop Tamiya Safekeeping. Alright, cool. So with all this stuff on the stack, they shouldn't be able to do anything about it. This should be lethal. They got a chance to respond here. The triggers are already on the stack. Spells can come back to my hand, but it's not going to matter. Unless they can end the turn or something crazy. Alright, looks like we'll have it there. Just stuck some Rotpriest, cast some spells. That was the game. Sweet. I think even if they did have removal, we were somewhat equipped to deal with it, which is nice. And it would have also shortened the clock as well. Good round 2. Here comes round 3. Alright, here we go. We've been getting pretty lucky with these hands here. We have Rotpriest and Mockingbird once again. There is no protection here, which is a little bit scary, and we do happen to be on the draw. Alright, well, nothing to do other than getting in like we know how to. Next turn is Mockingbird for a Rotpriest and charge through, or it could be Necrogen Communion. Ooh, Voice of the Blessed does make things a little more problematic here. Our life total is not necessarily going to be around for very much longer. We go Mockingbird for X equals 0. Target the Rotpriest, and then we'll charge through on their end step. Lots of Voice of the Blessed triggers. Not great. That thing will eventually gain flying, but it doesn't have it now. So I think it's probably going to be Necrogen Communion. That's 3 counters. Can they get one more counter here? I think that they definitely can. Yep, sounds about right. Darn. Alright. So, Voice of the Blessed, it's big. It's going to be a problem. We have what is effectively a 2-turn clock here. Okay. Well, can't do anything about that. This is maybe the one situation that is pretty bad for us here. So we're going to start to gain some poison counters for our opponent. Necrogen Communion is pretty much just a targeting here. This is where I was kind of hoping that Bring the Ending would be able to stick around. Opponent will at the very least be at 4 poison. Okay. And this is where you can potentially fold with a deck like this. March of Burgeoning Life, not so bad here. We don't have something to pitch this, so we're going to have to spend everything on this. That's not super exciting. Well, we'll go to 5. We'll be at 4 life. This is potentially recoverable if we get very, very, very lucky. Ocelot Pride. Okay. Yeah, just spend your time on that. Sure. Voice of the Blessed goes to 9. It goes to 10. And goes to 11 here. We're going to potentially survive. They should have attacked with everything and they win. Alright, so I have a chance here. We go to 1. They get to make some Ocelot Prides. And here we go. So X equals 2. Target this. Auto pay. They will be at 5. We need a 1 mana way to do something. Oh, actually, you know what? We need a swamp. Okay, I don't think we can do it. We actually have to specifically get a cantrip and then cantrip into something that targets. Alright. This is going to be tough. My turn. It's a breeding pool. That is quite unfortunate. Can't do much from here. We'll not be able to attack. An opponent gets to get in there. So, removal was pretty much the difference maker here. We weren't able to deal with the Galvanic Discharge, and opponent will take us out here. So we'll fall in round 3, but we have rounds 4 and 5 coming up next. Alright, here we go. Time to bounce back. So we finally have a hand that doesn't have turn 1 Rotpriest. That is unfortunately something that we do very desperately need to mulligan for. we will go down to 6 here, hoping that our opponent does as well. They do not. We'll maul. We find our Rotpriest. I think that it's very unwise to go less than that. We have the ability to produce most types of mana here. I think we have the opportunity here to play a slower game, though, which is kind of interesting. I might take away Bring the Ending and just play like this. If we deploy the Rotpriest a little bit later, this can actually be a better way to go. However, this is discard, so we know that we need to just get things to the battlefield as soon as possible. So because we know that there's nothing to do here, we'll just play our tap land and say go. Kroxa, what are we dropping off here? Possibly one of our 2 experimental auguries. It is good to have that card draw. We do need to make sure that we have charge through here as a cantrip. I think I'll get rid of the augury. My reason being is I want to save up a little bit of mana here. Drowned Catacomb. We want to cast augury this turn, so we'll wait 1 turn on that. And we're going to play from behind here potentially. This is a situation where we can get very, very far behind very, very fast. Okay, so Fireglass Mentor, we get to see some new cards here. I will Experimental Augury in response. And this one's a little tough here. We can take either another Charge Through or Not Dead After All. I think that one is better for us. Mockingbird is a good start. Unfortunately, not the card that we need in this exact moment. But we have enough mana and enough cards here that once we find a Rotpriest, we're doing all right. We just have to make sure that our opponent can't kill us or can't shred our hand fast enough. We will live and die by the 2-point chunk. Oh, and a Liliana off the top is pretty gnarly. I think we lose Botanical Sanctum then. Alright, there goes our Botanical Sanctum. I can also consider dropping off Mockingbird next. Move to my turn. A Rotpriest would have been really good there. I think now we lose... probably Tamiyo's safekeeping. Yeah, this one's tough. Might be in a losing battle here. Lily plus, sure. We'll play to our outs here, but I'm really not thinking that this is a very high percentage game anymore. Inquisition again is pretty tough, sure. Charge Through's a new card. I think they take Mockingbird here. Yeah, that makes sense. 16. They're getting a lot of value off this Fireglass Mentor. Bandit's Talent. Yep, okay, so true discard here. We're going to be pretty much hellbent now. Not Dead After All is kind of important here. The March of Burgeoning Life. That's tough. Well, we'll play here until we draw into something, but I think that once we get fully hellbent, there's not really much need to stay in this game anymore. We basically need a Rotpriest plus Not Dead After All. If we don't have that, then we can't get around a Liliana minus. Even as is, minus into next turn minus, we can't really do much about. So that's tough. Sometimes you just don't get out ahead of decks, and you do die by the aggressive game plan. Of course, we will still play it out, just to see what our outs look like down the stretch. Fireglass Mentor number 2 here. We start to take damage this way. At this point, it's going to be Mockingbird copying this guy for X equals 2. We need to have something here. It's going to be unfortunate because Lily now takes our Not Dead After All. If they have lost life this turn, so we will have to attack with the Fireglass Mentor. Now the question is... Okay, sure. They do get Lily minus, that's fine. And the question is, do I take lands or... Yeah, okay, this makes sense. Lands or my Fireglass Mentor. This is fine if I can attack. They have all mana up with 2 cards in hand. Kroxa almost ready to come out of the graveyard. I can't see how many cards are in here. Kroxa can come back, which means that my Not Dead After All is likely not to stick around. I will... well, actually, you know what? This means that my Not Dead After All doesn't do anything. Yeah, we're going to go like this. We'll sacrifice and keep the Fireglass Mentor. It is our way of finding the lands to cast Not Dead After All, because otherwise, Not Dead After All is a dead card. All right, well, a Croxa here is kind of brutal. And now, unfortunately, we have nothing left. I think this is the point where we can read the writing on the wall. Thoughtseize as well as sticking around. Sure. Brutal. Well, opponents played a pretty good game here. Got out ahead. This is definitely not as potent as the types of discard that you see in Timeless, given that Grief is not banned in that format. Still can be a pretty strong deck. Bandit's Talent, one of the new things out of Bloomburrow, is a solid card here. And with Croxa, we are now at 6, and now we're at 0. So we will get it in round 4, but the good thing is we have round 5 to bounce back. So we'll head there now. All right, 5th and final round. Let's end strong. Again, we need to mulligan for our Venerated Rotpriest, which we do get lucky to find on turn 2. I think this is one where we don't take a Necrogen Communion. That one's a little awkward to cast sometimes. Pay 2 life. The question is Rotpriest with the hope of getting in and attacking, or do we wait and make sure that we can hold up Not Dead After All? Let's live on the edge here. There's a Rotpriest turn 1, scheduled to attack on round 2. Just a blue Shoreline Scout. Good to see. This will be till end of turn. And cool. We'll attempt to get in here. I will have some blue produced, and we'll see if they want to lose their Shoreline Scout for this. That will not be worth a poison counter for them. Nice. So now we're ready to Not Dead After All. We are ready to charge through. Deep Root Pilgrimage. Well, that's pretty awkward. Is this something that I counter? There are a lot of problematic creatures, but I think that this gives us the opportunity to get in for another attack. So I will counter it. Okay. Move to my turn here. We get another free Rotpriest attack in. We are looking pretty solid here. This early game, which of course is the most brittle part of our strategy, has gone extremely well. We can protect one of our creatures. Here's Miro Regery. Sure. I assume they attack with the Shoreline Scout. No, they'll stick back here. So now it's not a good block. However, Not Dead After All is going to make things good. So we have an attack. We have 2, 4, 6 poison. So basically just need one more turn. Pretty much I can just do this on at instant speed and wait till next turn. If they target me at all, they're dead with a spell. Ward 1. Sure, they can tap something, or they're going to untap a land. Fine. We should be able to finish this one out. I'm feeling lucky. Cyvelin is a big problem here if I were any other deck, but for the most part, this is alright. Alright, they'll get another mana back here. Wonder what, if anything, they have for 1 mana. Typically, it's not a Spell Pierce, but I could be surprised. Luckily, Venerated Rotpriest doesn't really care about that. We'll go to 10. We know that we're facing essentially death next turn. I start with Charge Through. Boom, boom. They go to 4. We'll draw a card here, see if it's good. Now, I can block. So basically, the problem is if I just would be in a situation where I die next turn, I might need to block, which means that Not Dead After All needs to be saved till next turn, so I will wait. Watery Grave here. Yep, this was actually a pretty good move for me. We will enter tapped and wait for them to attack in. Ends turn, and we need to make sure that they can't grow these things to 5/5s. That is the way that we lose this game. And of course, if we draw another land next turn, it's over. They can also tap or untap my creatures. 4/4. And 5/5. They're going to have it. They did a pretty good job here. Just barely got wide enough just in time. We will show them before blocks how close we were, and we'll then take our damage. So, let's see. This is basically, they draw. Oh, wait, no, I can... Yeah, no, I do die here. For a second, I thought they only attacked with 3 creatures. Alright, so let's make our blocks here. Vodalian Hexcatcher. I think that probably we need to make sure that, well, it's fine. Yeah, we don't, it doesn't matter. I was debating should not then after all be cast anyway, but we only care about the cast triggers. So we came close. We could have shown them that we were at 8, but I just passed through the blockers phase. We'll end round 5 on a defeat. Definitely had more of our successes in the beginning half of the series today, but I think we got to show both sides of it. Definitely Rotpriest, as it always has been, is a all or nothing deck, but it's definitely one of my pet decks that I always want to come back to. So when I see anything new printed for it, like the Mockingjay or Mockingbird, it is always fun to give it some runs. With that being said, if you want to try out the deck for yourself and iterate on it, you can start from my list, which is going to be at the deck list in the video description, so check that out. Make sure to like and comment, helps with the video. Subscribe if you're new for videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'll see you guys in the next one.